The next one is a really good one, and we're talking about this. I like this next question because it's something that I think I related to in the very beginning, even though I've always had quite a personality. And trust me, when I was in school, my teachers didn't think that was very funny, but it's always been super, at least easy for me to speak to people, whether it's face-to-face or on the phone. But this guy writes, I get nervous talking to customers on the phone. Is there anything I could do to make myself more comfortable and less awkward? Well, there is a couple different things, Lewis. And it's funny, when I first started out, I shouldn't even say when I first started out. My first job was 15 and a half, and I was working at Dairy Queen. But I think 18, 19, 20, something like that, I started working at, maybe even sooner than that, started working at call centers. And I loved it. I think that's where I started my base from learning, being able to be a good salesman. And I pride myself on that. But when I first started, I was a little bit nervous, and I didn't know how to talk to people. And so basically he sat down with me in a room, this guy, Mike Taylor, and he said, hey, we're going to do kind of like a role play, and I'm going to go back and forth with you. And he said, we're going to do 5, phone call scenarios. And he did the first one, and it was a regular one, and I got through it really easy and read the script, and it was really good. Then the second one, it changed up. And all of a sudden, he started throwing rejections at me. And at the third one, he started getting rude. And he just continually progressed, and it got really, 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 really bad. And by the end of it, he said, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on a list of some of the worst people, and you're just going to call them, and you're just going to do it. So I called him, and I worked this list, and from the beginning to the end of it, this wasn't a one-day thing. This wasn't a one-shift thing. This was actually something he did for I think 2 or 3 weeks, and it was hellacious. I wanted to quit. I was young. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that crap. But by the end of it, when he finally came to me and said, "You've done. Your training is done. You can now go on and you can do this and these other call lists, and you're gonna be successful." The moral of the story is to just get out and do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to get out and make phone calls. If you're awkward and you're nervous on the phone, well, that tells me that you probably don't have a phone script. We just covered that. Get yourself a phone script, and guess what? You're going to have more power on that phone because you have a tool now to back you up. We just said have a thing about rebuttals. So if somebody says no and starts giving you crap, you already know what to go ahead and say back. Which, by the way, when you are on the phone with people and you feel nervous and awkward and somebody says something that you either don't have an answer to or you're nervous and awkward about, write it down, get an answer, and be ready and prepared for next time. And that's the best advice I could give. I mean, I'm no genius or anything. I'm just a solar panel cleaning expert, but no, I'm kidding, guys.
That was a good one, man.
I know. Thank you. What do you think, Lewis?
It just makes me think of my own story, man. When I was when I went back to college, imagine a 24-year-old Lewis working in this call center. And what we were doing was trying to get people to come in for this special visit. And these old people never wanted to come in for this visit. But if they didn't do it, they likely might die. And I had a lot of people die in between the time that they would use. Seriously, I was like, you might die of a stroke. You need to come in for this visit. And they're like, nah. And then next week, Bill's dead.
That's terrible.
It was rough, man. And we would have.
Now, I got to interrupt you real quick because I got to tell you, I had a job. One of my first jobs was actually working at Craftmatic adjustable beds. And it was a long sell process because you'd get the sell on the phone, but then it'd have to follow through.
Yeah.
And this happened a couple of times. I don't want to say that only old people back then were buying Craftmatic adjustable beds, but we did lose some sales due to death, which is that's some shit, man. But go ahead.
I just want to do like a shot of that sometime, a preview for this show, and then you're doing that line. That would have been perfect. Okay, so anyway. These people sometimes wouldn't want to come in for this visit. And when I first started, I had no idea how to convince people to do anything. It was like this huge mystery to me. And it's not like I'm a wizard now, but I know how to use the tools better. That's the whole point, right? At that time, I was just like trying crazy stuff. And these people let me try whatever I want. So I'd be calling like these back hills people here in Arkansas, and I'd be doing the slang and trying to connect their heritage, trying to be just like them, get them come to them visits, because you're gonna die, Bubba. You're gonna die.
Right.
And it, you know, I'm not gonna say it worked, but man, I worked my butt off, and I got a lot of people to come into those visits. That doesn't work very well, by the way, guys. You need to know the rebuttals, the objections, and the things that actually matter to them. So that's kind of what I see when I see people try to rely too much on a relationship. So, but anyways, that's my take. Chris, what's the next question for us?
Any of you guys out there that are watching us that would like to submit your questions, you can go ahead and submit them to outsideofthecleanersbox@gmail.com. So do that.